Hello, folks. Welcome again to our podcast. Today, we're talking about algebraic expressions, something students find really challenging, especially when they get to university or college. And how do students best prepare themselves for this? Prof. Max has a textbook that he has carefully created to help students so that when they face these algebraic expressions at college level, they are not taken aback. And he wants to share some details about the book with us today. Go ahead, Prof. Max.
Thank you so much, Josh. Well, yes, indeed. That's the book that I'm the author of. It's called A Serious Student's Guide to Algebraic Expressions. Well, let me tell you a little bit about this book. This book is dedicated to algebraic expressions only. So that's in-depth book about algebraic expressions. In fact, when I show this to people, and when they open this book, they always are surprised. All this book is about algebraic expressions. Why they are surprised is because in most algebra books, algebraic expressions would be just a couple of pages. And everything else will be just other topics in algebra. Well, why algebraic expressions? Because that's the heart of the matter. And the problem is that many students don't get enough training in this regard, and then everything else doesn't work for them very well. Especially what happens is that students graduate high school, go into university or college, and professors there will be using algebraic expressions very freely with assumption that students already understood everything about that. They can transform expressions easily. And then what happens is that students are actually slowed down in understanding the main subject of the course because they do not have that fluency required. Well, take linear algebra, statistics, calculus, business mathematics, anything quantitative will use algebraic expressions for sure.
Yeah.
And they will use complex expressions.
Yeah.
The problem, Josh, is that today market is saturated with a lot of books about algebra, which claim to prepare students for anything in algebra. But if you look at those books, they're always boasting to be easy books. Easy book in algebra, algebra in 5 days, algebra during sleep, algebra without doing anything. So almost every book in the market is promising knowledge of algebra without any work. But what actually happens is that students are under illusion that they learn algebra with some of those books, meaning that they will do exercises and all that stuff, and they will complete the book, and they will think, now I'm ready, just because I completed the book. But then when they actually go to college or university, they encounter expressions and they are like, oh, what's going on? I've never seen that before. A huge example of that is sum notation, product notation, factorials. When you come to college or university, right away in calculus course, in statistics course, they begin to use those sum notations like everybody should already know them. But in reality, students never saw them before. And one of the chapters of this book is actually working with sum and product notation with factorials. There is a whole chapter about it. In fact, the whole book is designed to gradually lead the student to understanding those complex expressions. So there are several important features here. First feature is that the way explanations are in this book, they are designed to train students for serious texts in mathematics, the kind of texts they will encounter in college or university. So you see, the way I try to explain topics is not in a primitive way, not in a very overly complex way, in the way which is exactly necessary to understand the topic correctly, and also in the way to train students to understanding a serious text in mathematics. I need to be very careful about that because I don't want to I don't want people to think that when they read, the explanation in this book, it will be very complex or hard. In fact, I tried to make as simple examples as possible to highlight the topic. I tried to make all the explanations to the point. But what I'm trying to say is that I did not water down. I did not make it in a way that, what if the student will feel bad about reading this? Let me put a couple of drawings here. Let me put a Mickey Mouse here so that make things fun. That's what I tried to avoid to do, because when students get to college or university, they will not see a Mickey Mouse in those books.
No,
right?
they won't. They
They
won't.
will not. They will see a serious, dry text,
Yeah.
which they should be capable to understand.
Mm.
So I didn't want to make this text dry, but
Yeah.
I wanted to make it academic. So
Yes.
understand right away, this style of exposition. Well,
Can you give us some information about your background? Why do you think you have the knowledge? Why do you think you have the right to be able to tell which expressions students should learn about before going to university and college? What background, what exposure have you had that gives you the the right to say you can put a book together that will help students?
Well, very good question, Josh. I've been teaching math at post-secondary level for 20 years, for more than 20 years, in fact.
Yeah.
I have so many colleagues who teach mathematics, and I attend conferences in teaching, in education all the time. I speak to my colleagues. You're one of my colleagues.
Yeah.
I have two daughters, by the way, who one of them is already at university, and she uses algebraic expressions all the time. And she tells me, look, Dad, you know what? I did your book. That's why today I understand many things so much better. Just recently, she got midterm in the University of Toronto,
Yeah.
and she told me, if not the book, I would be struggling today. Now I understand some stuff from your book, which helped me a lot. Because already in your book, she told me, there is such thing as there are such things as progressions, combinations, permutations, variance, standard deviation. All these things are already met here among exercises. So this book leads students to those things. But returning to my expertise, like I said, I've been teaching for more than 20 years, and I already know exactly where students struggle in our courses. I know, because when I explain certain topic, I cannot explain more, because students begin to ask me, okay, how did you go from this line to that line?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I begin to explain that, but hold on, but how do we simplify that? How did you do it, And now I need to explain that, but at some point I need to tell students, look, you guys need to go home and review this, because we have to move on. I cannot just do that. So that all comes from my experience and also education, Josh.
Yeah.
I studied mathematics and mathematics education, so I know what is required. That's why I spent a lot of effort making this book. To be honest with you, this book is not that somebody came to me and said, just make the book in algebraic expressions. No, that's my pain point, Josh, as a teacher. That's my pain. Why? Because we see students who struggle. And all the time I was thinking, why are they struggling? And I couldn't find anything to recommend them serious enough to get them ready. So that's why I made it myself.
So students struggling in algebra can benefit from this book. What other type of students can benefit from this book?
Well, tutors, professors, just like me. Let's say I'm a professor teaching this course. I see struggling students. That's the kind of book I can recommend. Yeah. Parents who would like their students, their children to succeed in college or university. And of course, serious students themselves. And who is the serious student? The person who wants to succeed genuinely, right? Not taking shortcuts, not convincing themselves that, oh, you know what, I've solved 1,000 easy exercises, now I'm good. Now, what do I mean by easy exercises, right? In a lot of books, what we observe today is that an exercise is actually just an operation. You know, a book would say do A plus A. Another exercise is like A plus 2A. And they never get harder than that, you know, like thousands and thousands of those. In my book, what is happening is that I build gradually. We start with indeed simple exercises, but then student never will get bored. They always will move on to the next exercise, which builds on the previous one and gradually increase in difficulty. Students will always see various notations. So it's not always X and Y. It will be alpha, beta, gamma, phi, and various other symbols involved so that they get used that many symbols can appear in algebraic expressions. Then gradually they will learn that algebraic expressions can be not only of couple of terms. It's not always X plus Y. It's sometimes x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x and so on, right? So these type of expressions, for example, in this
Greek letters,
right?
Greek
letters, and also series, meaning that sums of a lot of terms. For example, exercise like this: what is the sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up to plus n, right? Those things. Now it's my cat. My cat is agreeing with me right now that all those exercises are important, right? So, like if we ask today, like what is the sum of squares of n integers, right? School students may not know, but after this book, they will be ready. But the most important is that students will learn that mathematical thinking, which goes beyond those expressions.
So where can students find this book? Where can
students find this book in many places. I deal with a company that distributes these books to various, bookstores, but the most convenient place is Amazon.
Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. Okay.
Also, Josh, note that there are solutions to all exercises here. Detailed solutions, which is important for self-preparation. Every exercise that is solved, by the way, has an answer, of course, at the end of the chapter, so students can gradually learn by checking with the answers. But if the answer is not enough, students can also see full solution at the end of the book.
Okay.
The full solution for everything. Yes. Wow. What else can I mention just very quickly? Just difficulty.
Just get the book. Okay.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things to talk about it, actually, but I think all that information will be available if you go to Amazon page, for example. There will be more explanation. You can click on view sample and see for yourself some of it. So that's the whole thing. Yes, to get students ready for what it takes in college or university.
Beautiful. Thanks again, Prof. Max.
Thank you, Josh.